Welcome everyone to night 4 of the 2023 H&H Supplies Science Supply Fall Brawl, the 9th annual running of this event featuring the Fall Brawl 250. We're bringing you this action to you live from 55 Speedway in Pensacola, Florida. Tonight's action features the late model stock cars taking on 250 laps of racing around this half-mile short track. Tonight's racing features open sets, no fast repairs, 2 sets of tires, and up to 2 green-white checkered finishes if they are needed. Tonight's event is sure to be a blast. As we go run through some things, how about we say thanks to a few of the guys who make this all possible. Maconi Entertainment, the people bringing you this racing action live here tonight, making it all possible for you to be watching this racing action. My name is Alexander Balderas, and I'm here with Robert Hill Jr. as my co-caster here in the booth tonight. We're glad to be here broadcasting this race to you guys. Sure to be a great one. It's going to be a great night full of a ton of racing action. Time to go on to some of the people who can make this happen. Simwrapmarket.com. They're great designs, paint schemes, and pre-made designs, smart templates, number sets, and more. Use code SARA for 10% off at swimwrapmarket.com. Then going on to H&H Sign and Supply. Whether you're a professional graphic artist who needs vinyl signs, making supplies, or you're a crafter with a big project, H&H Sign Supply can fulfill your needs for inkjet, printable vinyl, wide format printers, signed blanks and stakes, banners, cutters, and so much more. Race One Wraps is a full-service design entity specializing in full-color wraps, vinyl lettering, and apparel painting and distribution. Visit them at www.raceonewraps.com for more information. Cartel Captures, best appearance scheme as well. That award is coming later. Cartel Captures is an iRacing photography company that will capture high-quality photographs of any car or paint scheme you want. Message the Cartel Captures Facebook page for high-quality photos of your car. The SARA Next Gen templates. Get the most accurate Next Gen manufactured graphics for your iRacing Super Late Model or Late Model stock, complete with 5-star decals and realistic shading for the Mustang, Camaro, Camry, templates, and available all for purchase at racesara.com. Well, let's take a look at where this track is located. Pensacola, Florida, 5 Flag Speedway, off for an absolute belter here tonight. Here, nearing along the Gulf Coast. Turns at 15 degrees of banking. Honestly, a pretty banked short track for all the ones I've seen. Now, tonight is sure to bring out some great racing. All the stuff that we have planned here for tonight is going to be an absolute blast. Once again, my name is Alexander Balderas, and joining me in the booth is Robert Hill, the DJ Lion, working the controls as our producer, and the camera angles being provided by the great Dougie Beard. This is a week of racing that is one short track iRacers look forward to every year. The SARA series is filled with some of the toughest racing competition on the service. These drivers are looking to show off their talents on one of sim racing's largest annual stages. And as we get ready to look at the grid, we're going to call through some of the action. Alex McCollum to set it on pole over Jacob Herberts in the number 80 machine. Riley Stenjam in 3rd over Joe Schaffer in 4th spot. Parker Travis then riding up alongside Josh Cottle in 6th spot. Going on to row number 4, Chase Robertson and Kyle Mayer in that 4th row. Trevor Edwards and Josh Parrish alongside for 9th and 10th. Jonathan Adkins and Blake Thornburg in 12th spot. Connor Blaze in 13th. James Polsky in 14th. Ryan Kuhn, Dylan Bates, Jacob Hayes, and Caleb Hall in 18th in that number 23 machine. I believe there is some more. Dylan Calbro in the 19th spot. Spencer Dickinson, Jake Grout, Steele Langford, and Brian Texek. Dante Curtis, Justin Crow, Sean Cool, Alex Gretz, Regan Parent, and the rest of the grid. Ben Nile lines up last out of our current starters. Now, I've done a lot of yapping so far, but Robert, what do you think this race is going to entail shortly before we go green?
Yeah, good evening, Alex. Good evening, everybody. This has been a great week of build-up into tonight's Fall Brawl 250. Started Monday night with the weekly series shootout, and then we moved along to pole night and qualifying last night, sent some drivers home. As you can see on the screen there, tonight we have a $1,410 purse, $300 to the winner. Every driver in the field will go home with at least the amount that they paid to be here tonight, 250 laps, as we're getting set to go. Green flag, and we are underway, Alex, with Alex McCollum on the loud pedal.
That won't be too frustrating to call. Alex McCollum on the loud pedal and away in the race lead. Got a couple of cars battling out just behind, but right now he looks to be one of the fastest and one of the hardest guys to beat. Absolutely flying in practice, and it looks like he's carrying that momentum straight to the race off on lap 2.
Yeah, Alex McCollum has been very quick all week long. One of the quickest cars in single car qualifying, as well as the pole shootout. One of our past champions as well, picking up the 2020 version of this event. He does have the lead just ahead of Jacob Harberts. Harberts has been a quick car this week as well, as he takes a peek to the inside of Alex McCollum. Not able to get there quite yet. Riley Stenjum hanging out in that third position. A couple other past champions in the field, including Trevor Edwards, who currently runs 9th, and the two-time defending champion of this year event, Ryan Kuhn, currently running 14th. He's in a side-by-side battle with the guy that we've dubbed Mr. Excitement this week of Blake Thronberg, as we do have a lead change here. Jacob Harbert's out front. Alex McCollum now back to second.
Alex McCollum now back down to that second spot as Harberts takes the lead over this 3-car pack that has surprisingly gone away from the rest of these guys. You know, usually off the bat in short tracks, I don't really expect to see this big of a gap, but it's looking like a normal intermediate, and these guys back here are racing fierce for all the spots behind third.
Yeah, looking a little bit further back, the first side-by-side action we do see is Josh Parrish and James Pileski. Pileski just cleared the Josh Parrish machine. Now Parrish to the outside of Lake Thronberg. That's going to be a side-by-side battle that'll go on for quite some time. As the issue with this racetrack is if you get stuck up on that high side, you open the door for the possibility of getting freight trains. We're about to go 3 wide there. Looks like that was Dylan Bates taking a peek to the inside. He's going to get him back in line this time. Actually, that was the 99 of Jacob Hayes, as Hayes going to slot in 15th, already up 2 spots on the day, and he's hungry, looking for more.
You're going to possibly see in one of the short track ways of racing is the bump and run was very, very subtle. The 72 might have a problem, but he did get a little bit of help from the 93 out in the middle of this pack right now, and he was right on his rear bumper. I mean, you can barely split these two guys apart. Riding on board with Blake Thronberg in that 14th spot. Still kind of stuck on that outside lane, and as you mentioned, I think he might get freight trained here. Really hard to stay on that outside lane, but it can happen.
It can definitely happen here. You just need a bit of a run down the back straightaway. You can clear down ahead of anybody that might leave you a hole, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case here for Thronberg. He does get passed here by Dylan Calabro. Now opens the door to the 23 of Caleb Hall. Hall, one of the quick drivers last night in our qualifying heats, was able to finish in the top 3 of the heat that we covered, and just ran a really smart race. Watch for that 23 tonight to slowly work his way forward. And one thing that we've seen so far this week, Alex, in the couple races that we've covered, drivers such as Ryan Kuhn have found their way to the rear of the field for the majority of the first half, and then you see them come alive in the second half. But so far, I've seen Ryan Kuhn stay stationary there in the midfield. But I do want to just quickly jump back up to the front. Jacob Harberts has absolutely pulled away from Alex McCollum, now leads him by 1.5 seconds at the line this time. So Jacob Harbert's kind of showing his strength there very early on.
Very early on, using and wringing out the speed from this open setup. He has actually gone out to a quite surprising lead this early in the race, coming on to lap 15 out of 250. So he's got a long ways to go before the end of this race, but he's also got quite a long gap between him and second place. So he's looking to be an absolute dominating performance here tonight, and it looks like it could start now with this big lead he has.
The one thing about that lead that Harberts has built up here is he does seem to be the quickest by far on the racetrack, but what that's going to do is pull the back half of the field closer and closer to him. Aaron Johnson, currently the tail of the field, is a lap down currently, and that will bring the lap traffic to the nose of the Jacob Harberts machine, potentially bringing some traffic and issues to that 80 car. May allow Alex McCullum to close up, and it may turn into a headache for Jacob Harberts, but we're still a couple laps away from that at this point as the battles do continue through the field. Just taking a look, looks like most of these guys have gotten a single file. Caleb Hall, Ryan Kuhn still battling side by side. Here comes Brian Tedeschi. Tedeschi able to clear the Kuhn machine. Kuhn now going backwards as the 91 machine of Dylan Bates goes on by. Kuhn going in the wrong direction. We'll see if this is his strategy that he's played all week long or if he's just struggling here.
It's interesting to me to see that these packs kind of form. Right now we've got this 3-car pack going on, but then just behind, you know, we've got this other 5-car, 6-car pack, and then we've got a whole train behind them. So it's interesting to me, as the race goes on, these different kind of packs form. Like, look at this long train of cars just behind it. It's separated by about maybe 4/10 from this 3-car battle, and then here comes the rest of the field in a train. So when we eventually get these lap cars, it may be hard for our leader, Harberts, to try and cut through, but he's eventually going to have to squeeze his way through. Very hard and tight short track, Five Flags is. You don't want to get stuck on that top side lane, because even as the leader, and he has much of a gap as he may have, if that costs him enough time, he could have a battle for the lead.
As we did just see Joe Schaefer Jr. go on by the Alex McCullum machine. We're going to ride on board here with one of our past champions. Trevor Edwards currently finds himself back in that 10th spot, right behind the James Pileski 93 machine and just ahead of the 57 of Connor Blaze. You mentioned the train that we're seeing thus far. What that's going to do is if you have one little checkup in the middle of that train, it could lead to a domino effect, and we saw that quite a bit last night in our qualifying races where drivers didn't really have anywhere to go, ended up wedging the nose under the car ahead of them, and we actually had a car flip over in the qualifier last night and continue on. So we've seen some wild things this week, and I think that's about to continue as we see Josh Cottle now getting passed by the 17 of Jonathan Adkins. Adkins has had a great week as well, currently working his way forward ahead of James Pileski, and Josh Cottle currently scored in that 7th position.
Yeah, you know, one thing you were mentioning is how it may get wild if these guys check up, similar to kind of how the old ARCA car worked, where it really got launched, and as soon as that pointed nose got underneath that raised rear end, it absolutely raised that rear end up in the air, spun him around. And if a big checkup happens, we could see an absolute pile-up with how close these guys are racing, but it also proves how close these guys can race together and for a continued amount of time. This racecraft in this field is absolutely immaculate. These guys have been going on side by side, front to back, tail to nose for about 30 laps consistently now, and we really haven't seen any contact, any spinning, crashing. We've seen a completely clean race and completely clean racing.
We've seen some great, respectful racing by these drivers all week long. Monday night, we ran the weekly series shootout, 100 laps here right at the Five Flags Speedway. Josh Cottle picking up the win in that one. We went nearly the whole race without a caution, and the only caution we got was a slight mistake by one driver, which led to a yellow flag coming out. But these drivers know how to race hard, know how to race tough, but definitely know how to race clean. And out front, it continues to be Jacob Harberts 1.5 seconds ahead of Joe Schaefer Jr. But Schaefer cleared himself from the Alex McCullum machine and has been slowly ticking his way forward, inch by inch, closer to that 80 of Jacob Harberts. We will eventually, I do believe, have a battle between these two. That's as long as we do stay green. And speaking of staying green, tonight actually all laps will count, including the caution laps, unlike the rest of the week where it was green flag only.
Yeah, you know, you were mentioning how he might have a battle here on his hands, and it's really good for Alex McCollum to try and use the car that he has right now to get up there. He's kind of falling back a bit, but I honestly think that with enough time and enough work on his car, he could really get back up to the lead. One of the fastest guys we saw in practice and all week. But these guys race him so tough, yet so clean, realizing that they've got over 250 times around this racetrack to maneuver and try and pass guys. And they're not only doing that, a long race, they're racing for a championship. So they have to realize that what they have to go for might be a bigger picture in the end than passing one guy for one spot.
That's exactly it. You have to be strategic about your moves throughout the event, and we do still have pit stops that are going to come up in this race. Estimated fuel run here tonight is around 150 laps, and with your tires, depending on how much you're pushing it, you may only be able to get 125 to 150 laps. So obviously, you're going to try to push more and more to get closer to that fuel window as well, so you can make it a one-stopper. But it's going to be interesting to see what these guys can do when it comes to their tires here tonight, and see if maybe somebody ends up falling back early and comes alive with that new set in the second half.
You know, one thing that a lot of people don't realize, that tires do actually really matter at short tracks, because even though it doesn't seem like it would, tires really matter anywhere. If you're going up your right wheel, you're going to be loose all over the place. And especially with a high power, high downforce race car like this, you need all of the grip you can get off of exit. And, you know, if you're sliding the right front, putting too much lock on it, you're going to start getting tight, and it's going to be the opposite effect. You're going to be starting tight, rolling a little slower through the center of the corner. And with how tight these guys are racing, you know, bumper to bumper, it's going to be perilous. If someone gets tight or if someone gets loose and these guys all get stacked up together, it's going to maybe put a lot of guys' nights to end.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned the tires being important here at the short tracks. You can already see the driver starting to slide up and push closer and closer to the outside walls that come off the corner. When those tires go away, that push is going to get even worse and worse, and eventually you might find yourself in that outside wall and doing some damage. As we ride on board here with James Pileski, he started in the 15th spot, I do believe, for Pileski, 14th actually, and he's up 8 positions already, currently running in that 6th spot. So great gains thus far by James Pileski, a very strong rider every time we see him out here in these big events on iRacing, and Pileski definitely going to be one to watch as the race advances through the stages here tonight. Currently, we are on lap 42, still 209 laps to go, so a lot of racing still to be had here tonight. And so far, it's been Jacob Harbert's out front. Joe Schaefer Jr. has closed the gap about a half a second within the last 10 to 12 laps, so Schaefer closing the gap here as Alex McCullum pulls away from Riley Stenjum a little bit, as Stenjum now under pressure here from Jonathan Adkins. Adkins closing that gap on Stenjum, and just behind him is where we find James Pileski, the driver that we just ran on board with here, that's already up 8 positions on the day.
Yeah, we got to watch out for this top 3 group of guys, because they're going to be the fastest overall all night. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't look on around the rest of the field, riding on board with the rear end of Riley Stenjum. He's in the midst of this battle right now, and a tight battle at that. He is being squeezed up the racetrack. You know, we were saying about that top side lane, not good. He could get freight trained, but this might be the break he needs to kind of slot back in line. Not really in a huge pack, so losing a couple spots now might gain you just some time there in the late end of the race, because you didn't slide down a bunch of spots, and this is going to where he's going to tuck back in line. He's going to say, hey, you know, I'm glad I made it back in line, not racing on that top side lane. I realize how much of the race I've just got left and how far I need to go if I want to win a championship.
Yeah, I'm watching a little bit further back. We have a 3-car battle for that 9th position. Josh Cottle just cleared the 31 of Chase Robertson. Robertson now under pressure from Kyle Meyer. Very tight quarters off of turn number 2 here. Meyer on the inside, Robertson up top. Just behind them is where we find the 57 of Connor Blaze. Blaze trying to work his way forward as we do get back to some single file action. The 57 of Blaze took a look to the inside of the 31. Robertson thought better of it, gets back in line, and now he's going to have to hold off Brian Tedeschi, and Tedeschi already up 11 positions on the day, so that 29 machine might have started deep in the field, but he certainly has his eyes set on the front of the pack.
And you know, a race like this really tests the patience of drivers, because you've got It doesn't seem like a lot in the distance, but just when you have to realize how many laps over and over and over you have to go until you make it to that checkered flag, it's going to be tough. Riding on board with Brian Tetzke in that 13th spot. Lowest was 23rd. He's now up to 13th. So one of the biggest movers we've seen in this field, really putting that open setup to work. But all these guys have to realize that they have still so much time left in this race that it's up to them whether or not they want to push. And these guys are race car drivers at heart, you know. It's really a test of patience whether or not you can sit in line the longest, but whoever wins out that battle of the patience really is going to come home with the win, because they're going to know when to make the moves, when to not make the moves, when to be overall aggressive, when not to be. And I think that's what's going to win a personal championship here tonight.
Absolutely. Again, you have to be strategic with your moves throughout the event tonight. Maybe don't use too much aggression early on. Save a little bit of that for later on. Keep your car in one piece. As we see these drivers all over each other now. That's the 23 of Caleb Hall on the back of the Brian Tedeschi machine. Tedeschi in the 29, currently running in that 13th spot. Caleb Hall, that blue 23 you see on screen now, currently running 14th. I do want to point out a driver that has had a great start to the race today. He was not even supposed to be in the event. He ended up getting the 31st starting spot as a promoter's provisional. Ben Nile, currently running in the 17th spot, started 31st. He's up 14 positions already. And when he gets down to it later on tonight, we will eventually get a caution in this event. When he has a chance to re-rack and restack and get closer to the field, we might see that 14 machine contending for a top 10 here tonight. But so far, so good for Ben Nile, as we did have a change for second. Alex McCullum got by Joe Schaefer Jr. Now McCullum 1.1 seconds behind Jacob Harberts at the line last time by. Harberts stretching that lead out once again here, about a fifth of the way through today's event.
Harberts really knows that he has a comfortable lead, but just because you're comfortable doesn't mean it's going to stay that way. Making sure that you have to push in the lead, know that, you know, maybe because I have this lead, I can take it a little easy, but don't back off too much, because McCullum is on his way. He's been cutting through the rest of this pack after kind of falling back, and right now he's gunning it for that lead spot. He's already caught up a couple of positions already. He made the pass for second, and now he's just seeing if he can stretch away from second spot, and it looks like he's doing that right now going into three.
Yeah, you mentioned being comfortable, Alex. You can never be too comfortable in a race like this, especially when there's money on the line. The intensity levels always pick up, and the guys get a little bit more aggressive towards the end of it. Riding on board here with Alex McCullum. Just look at how close he gets to the outside wall down the straightaways here. I'd expect the same off at turn number 4. Yeah, right against that outside wall, putting the right side tires basically flush with the wall, as he's closed that gap big time here on Jacob Harberts, 0.4 of a second here within the last 3 or 4 laps. So expect the Alex McCullum machine to challenge for the lead again when the opportunity does arise. But Jacob Harberts, it kind of looks like he might be playing with them a little bit, holding a little bit back, letting them think that they're getting closer, and then he just sets sail and pulls away.
You know, one thing you were going to mention is that these guys aren't just only racing for a championship. They are racing for a good deal of money. We've got a $1,410 purse allowed for all of the drivers. At least I think everybody will get their money back for starting this race, whether or not they finish. But these guys are racing for not only a championship, but a serious amount of money. We've also got 2 other awards here. The SWM Hard Charger, $50 for the most positions gained in the main event. Maconi captures best appearing scheme for tonight's event. That's another $50 for these guys to earn. So, on the racetrack, lap 64. First caution of the night.
I'm not seeing where that one happened, but I know our great producer here, DJ, will get it loaded up for us here. We're hearing it might have been our leader, Jacob Harberts, and he does come pit side here, Alex. And that'll be a big development if it was, in either way. And luckily it was not him, as we'll wait and see what happened. Kind of a fluky caution there.
I'm interested to see what that caution was up for. We're trying to see what we could find, but I don't know why Harberts came down pit road for center right side tires. He stops and now he goes again. So unsure of why he had to come down pit road. I believe the only driver to do so. But now that begs the question. He's pretty far back in the field, but he looked extremely fast, and now he has a set of right side tires pretty much over the entire field. So with how fast we know he can be, do you think he could charge up all the way back to the lead on this set of right sides alone?
It's definitely going to be tough here. We do have the Maconi Entertainment replay machine loaded up here, seeing if we can find what the cause of the yellow flag was. Looks like a penalty has been given to the 49 of Jake Grout, which is typically what happens here when a caution comes out. There it is. He gets into the rear of, I believe, that's the 71 of Dylan Calabro back on lap 64.
Lap 64, the time of the caution.
It was the 49 of Jake Grout just past the start-finish line heading down into turn number 1 on lap 49. Let's take a look here, Alec.
So he dives it in. Ooh!
There it is.
So quite a hard tap. I was going to say a bit of a ginger one. No, that was pretty forceful, and we're going to see
a little more than ginger.
Yeah, it was a little bit more than just a slight tap, maybe showing some displeasure, but that's going to be something we may see later on in the race. Interesting to see it kind of early on, but you know, these guys are racing with such good racecraft, such good respect, and I foresee that this happens a lot more this race, a lot of another clean racing. Pace car going to make his dive down pit road, and Alex McCollum back to the lead. He'll take the green flag. We're racing again in 5 flags.
Side by side back there for second place, Joe Schaefer Jr. in the 6 up on the high side. That's the 93 of James Poleski on the inside.
Got a spin in the back. Caution comes back out again. Spin in the back. I believe a couple cars were collected. We're going to take a look and see what happened. We'll get a Maconi Entertainment replay. Looked like a couple cars involved. You could see the smoke.
I believe the 71 of Calabro got turned again.
Again? Oh my gosh. Not going well so far. I'm going to take a look to see what happened. This is just when we went green. And he slides up past the 86. Does he just get dumped again? Oh, he has to check up. Oh, and 2 cars spin. So the 71 getting dumped again. But I don't think
Calabro might need a little bit of reinforcement on the rear end of that 71 machine. He's been hooked twice here thus far, and actually he was handed the penalty to go to the rear of the field.
Interesting. So
definitely an interesting call there. I just wanted to point out one thing here, Alex. On the restart, you could see it there. The outside lane here at 5 Flag Speedway does not get good restarts at all. It's all about the timing and seeing how close you can get. But all week long, the car that started second typically wasn't second by the time we got through turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, you know, it's the second lane, you really got to know how to work it. And that's one thing some of these guys really know how to do, and others could learn throughout all of the distance we have to cover tonight. But I think one of the biggest things that you have to do when you're on that outside lane is you got to pinch. You know, it may be a little uncomfortable. Short track racing, you're going to be buddy-buddy with the guy next to you. I think if you want to have any chance of trying to get, using that second lane, or at least trying to get a good restart, you have to pinch the guy below you. It's going to be tough, and there might be tempers, but if you want to stay in contention for those top few spots, you have to get comfortable riding on the door of the guy below you.
Yeah, absolutely. Great point there. You definitely do have to pinch a little bit, kind of be a little bit more aggressive than you might think you need to. But if you want a chance to stay up there and avoid the potential for a freight train as well, you're going to need to stay on the door of the pole sitter. And here we're going to have Joe Schaefer Jr. lining up on the outside of Alex McCullum here, row number 1 on this restart. James Pulaski, Riley Stenjum, Trevor Edwards, Parker Travs, Jonathan Atkins, Josh Cottle, Kyle Meyer, and Brian Tedeschi will be your top 10 on this restart. And for those of you scoring at home, everyone's still on the lead lap with the exception of Regan Parrott and Jake Grout. Both those drivers 1 lap down.
Few people going a lap down, but we're going to see if we can get the 3rd restart underway here at Five Flags Speedway in Pensacola, Florida. Pensacola, USA. Pace car going to make its dive down pit road. The start is on Alex McCollum, and he has gone, and we are now green flag racing again from Five Flags.
Green flag back out. Joe Schaefer Jr., James Pulaski picking up where they left off. I hear a bit of smash and dash in the back, but they're able to continue on without any issues. That's Pulaski on the inside. Schaefer up top. He's got Riley Stenjum behind him. And the 32 of Trevor Edwards now joining the fight. He finds himself in that 4th position. Of course, past champion Trevor Edwards is behind them. Jonathan Atkins gets absolutely bent out of shape. He falls back, gets passed by the...
He's in the wall.
That is the 60 of Parker Travs out in the outside wall. Heavy damage on that machine, I do believe, as he's coming to a slow on the front straightaway.
Yeah, you can see their right front absolutely destroyed.
Oh, look at the sparks.
I mean, that right
That's
front.
the heartbreaker.
Killed. That is so sad to see 60 machine go out like that. Hard hit. That outside wall. A lot of banking for a short track on Five Flags. 15 degrees in both the corners. Just showing what it can be. Getting the Maconi Entertainment replay just to see what happened. And you can see he was already in the wall before the corner. So it looks like maybe something happened down in 1 and 2, carried all the way to 3 and 4. And that just gave him that right front damage and completely broke it. And has him tiptoeing around the racetrack.
A potential parts failure there for Parker Travs, which led to that massive impact with the wall. Now finds himself on pit road, likely done for the day. May come back out to try to pick up a couple spots towards the end, but unfortunately for the driver out of Ontario, Canada, Parker Travs is out of today's race. But out front, Alex McCullum leads the way over James Pulaski, Riley Stenjum, Joe Schaefer Jr., and Trevor Edwards. That's your top 5 now. As we have to look at Brian Tedeschi, he's up 14 spots already. 23rd is where he started. He's currently running 9th. He was up in that top 3 battle on the last restart, but he's falling in the wrong direction now after a massive gain early on.
Couple of massive gains, finds himself falling back. One driver that we had thought, and we had talked about earlier, Harberts, he had an EOL and he started at the back. He's already up about 7, maybe 8 spots. He was running about 23rd or 21st. Already a start to a good recovery drive, and if this keeps up, Alex McCollum, maybe in a few cautions, might have his competition breathing down his neck again.
Yeah, Jacob Harbert's definitely not a driver we can count out at this point, as we do ride on board with the number 80 machine out of the Virginias. Currently running, like you mentioned, back in 23rd. Started on the outside pole here tonight. Ran out front for the majority of the early portion of today's race. Currently running behind the Steele Langford and Aaron Johnson machines. Seeing what he can do to work his way forward at this point in the race. Still very early in the event. 164 laps to go for Jacob Harberts, and he's going to have that opportunity throughout the event to pick off positions, work his way forward, and when he gets towards the front, I would expect this 80 machine to be just as strong as he was at the start, if not even stronger, with the intensity level picking up.
All of these guys that are racing in this tight group in front of them, you can see just how if one driver checks up, the whole train checks up. So if one driver makes a mistake, 5 others could be collected. And we saw that on the restart earlier. Only 2 cars collected, but it was a perfect example of one car slowing down, the other one behind not expecting it. Then they get into each other, 2 cars spin up the racetrack, others have to avoid. And it's just a perfect example of short track racing and what can happen when the unexpected strikes Driver ahead, not really paying attention, slams the brakes. And there goes the rest of the field and a couple of guys Knights were able to save it, and we're back on the racetrack. But now looking ahead of this group in front of this line, still has form. It seems like everyone else a little bit more reformed than the original start, a lot more closer racing than we saw. And these guys already starting to push the limits, start getting closer and closer to the outside wall in 2 and in 4.
This line that we're watching here with Jacob Harberts in it stretches from the 11th position basically all the way back to 28th as the 14th machine of Ben Nile has an issue. He loses 4 spots on that lap. Now under pressure from the 17 of Alex Gretz. Gretz looking to the inside of Nile. This time they're going to be side by side down in turn number 3. It's Gretz on the inside, Nile up top. Looks like Alex Gretz going to get the advantage this time by, and he's going to pull that 16 of Rocky Boyd III with him.
So he's got to be able to now cut down back in line. It looks like he's going peeking for the inside, and it doesn't look like it's going to work. Right now, only lost 2 spots. Still got a majority of the race left to run. Benjamin's up to second. Stenjum with an absolutely great race so far. Was running a little bit in the top 5 earlier. Had a great restart. Now finds himself in second. Kind of breathing, starting to get up close to Alex McCollum, who was fast in that original stint, then got passed by a couple other guys riding on board. Lowest was 7th. Riley Stenjum now up to second, currently his highest position, and is still staying there. And I believe he might be starting to reel in Alex McCollum, who looks like he is slinging the rear end just a little bit. You can see it hanging loose, hanging on that right rear off the corner.
Yeah, riding on board there with the driver out of Wisconsin, Riley Stenjum, closing that gap onto the one of Alex McCollum. McCollum out front by about 0.3 of a second, nearly 4 over the Riley Stenjum machine. But Stenjum has quite the gap behind him to Joe Schaefer Jr. Schaefer under pressure just about here by James Pileski. He can see the Pileski machine getting closer and closer in his mirror. As you can see the intensity in the field picking up. Look at the Brian Tennessee machine. He is trying to get through the 17 of Jonathan Adkins and the 88 of Kyle Meyer. That's a 3-car battle, 7th through 9th now, as the 88 of Meyer clears up in front of Jonathan Adkins. Not a lot of space there to clear up in front of Adkins, and Adkins nearly gave him a kiss to the back bumper to let him know that maybe that was a little too tight.
These guys are racing like it's the last.
Adkins gets the wall there, Alex.
And these guys really starting to push that boundary now. They've gotten comfortable racing against everybody, and I think now they're starting to kind of relax the so-called, kind of racing just easily. And these guys are starting to make moves, they're starting to play each other. And the 57 tries to dive down low. What a great move! Tried to cross him up. It looks like he's going to work. He's going to be on that inside lane. Off of turn number 2, he's still there, looking for the pass in 3.
Connor Blaze does get by the 17 of Adkins, but Adkins firing back up on the high side by side for position number 9. Blaze clears that time. Adkins going to take a look, see if he can make an over-under move here. Not able to get there. Gets back in line. They're going to ride it out here in 9th and 10th. Looking up at the front here, Alex McCollum has stretched the lead by another 0.2 over Riley Stenjum. Stenjum in a bit of a bubble now, as Schaefer also putting a gap on James Pileski. Trevor Edwards has Caleb Hall closing in on him. Kyle Meyer, Brian Tedeschi, Connor Blaze, and Jonathan Adkins just behind him. The group in the rear end of the top 10 starting to get back together, as you see the 17 machine, and that is actually the 71, I believe, of Dylan Calabro. Actually, no, that's the 17 of Regan Perrott going another lap down here. Now finds himself 2 laps down on lap 103.
It'll be tough to come from 2 laps down, but I think you can try and do it and get back up into that lead lap position. Looking at last year's winner, right now he's running very, very well, looking very, very strong, the 2-time defending champion. And he's looking to make it 3 tonight. Can he go for 3 in a row?
He can definitely go for 3 in a row. And I'm watching the guy behind him here as well, Sean Cool, driving the 24 machine. Started 27th, currently running in that 13th position. In the qualifier last night, he was on the outside looking in on the last lap, but an aggressive move ahead of him took out the final two drivers that were about to transfer into tonight's main. And Sean Cool arrived on scene cool as a cucumber and was able to grab that final spot. And he was quite excited when we had a chance to speak with him. Just behind him, though, looks like a bit of an issue there. Rocky Boyd and Regan Parent nearly coming together as the 17 continues his descent through the field. Blake Thronberg just behind the Rocky Boyd machine there as we're starting to pile up a little bit here behind Regan Parent.
These battles getting onto each other right now. These two guys getting side by side. That's the glory of short track racing. You could have a guy stretched way out in the lead, but there's going to be a battle at least somewhere in the field. There is going to be side by side action for positions all across the racetrack, and that's exactly what we're seeing here.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're seeing here. And what's coming into play as well, as we saw with the Regan Parent machine, the lap traffic coming into play, getting mixed in with these lead lap cars. So what was once 2 wide is now becoming 3 wide, and that gets a little bit tighter here at Five Flag Speedway. Yes, we have that 15 degrees of banking to work with in the corners to allow for the multi-groove racing, but when we come off of the corners, that really tightens up and puts these cars right on top of each other with a bit of an accordion effect, closing them in.
Accordion effect indeed. Something we've already seen strike a couple times tonight. We talked about it earlier, that the driver makes some sort of an error, whether they check up, maybe get loose, get tight, or a difference in speed happens in front of all these guys are nose to tail. Could spell the end for a couple of guys' nights. And it could be an absolute disaster for the rest of these guys in the field too. Because of how close together they are, it's going to be really hard to try and spot and miss the wreck. Because of these cars, they're also very long. Something they don't talk about is these cars are pretty long for the track. So as we saw last time, when they got dumped at the exact same time, they were almost blocking the track completely. So it's going to be difficult if they want to make it through. So just keeping it clean, keeping your nose clean, and getting out of all the wrecks possible throughout tonight is going to be one of the key moments to come try and not only win, got some smoke on the front stretch. No caution, doesn't look like anything happens. But one of the keys to winning here tonight, not only winning that and the championship, is to stay out of all the wrecks you can and to be as clean as possible throughout the night.
That's exactly it. You're going to want to keep your nose clean. As I'm watching here, Trevor Edwards, the 4th place car, going by that 17 of Regan Parent. Once again, the 17 now finds himself 3 laps down on the day. And as this race advances, the tires get a bit more worn out. That lap traffic coming into play definitely makes it a little rockier, but Alex McCollum has done a really fantastic job thus far of spreading himself out to a sizable lead. Riley Stengen, though, is under a bit of pressure here as Joe Schaefer Jr. closing in that gap, as you can see here on your television screens. Schaefer just about to be there with Stengen. If Stengen has any sort of a slide or any sort of misstep, Joe Schaefer Jr. is going to be right there to pounce. And Schaefer not yes, exactly. We do have some turkeys on both of these vehicles getting sent for American Thanksgiving next week, I believe, a week from today.
Yeah, a week from today, we're going to celebrate Thanks. And so a lot of these guys taking a festive approach to a lot of their paint schemes. And looking good right now, 2 turkey cards battling it out. And right now they're running about a couple tenths away from each other. And right now the racing is looking really, really good. But that turkey, man, he looks fast.
Yeah, these turkeys definitely do look fast. And of course, you mentioned the paint schemes. We do have the award from Cotto, captures $50 to the best appearing paint scheme here tonight. Not sure who's going to get to decide that, but we've definitely seen some really good ones here tonight, including some duct tape numbers on board some of these machines, as the racing getting absolutely tight there. That is the Jacob Harbert's machine that you see on your screen. Currently finds himself, wow, he's just outside the top 10 now, Alex.
He is on a charge to come back. Last time we checked on him, he was 23rd. So really stringing out that race car, and he is absolutely caught up through all these guys, and he's passed them. You know, passing is kind of difficult here. All of them see use of the bumper. That's one of the ways you can get past some people, but there could be an issue using that. If you get too close to these guys, you know, you could spin him out, or even worse, making him mad. Getting tempered with someone on this short of a racetrack, and the short tracks in general, is not the way you want to go for an especially long race like this. You have all this time to race. Why are you making someone mad when we're not even halfway through? So, you know, actually, I think we are just past halfway through, but it's really tempting to try and say, hey, I want to make it past this guy. He's getting me in my way. I'm frustrated. But then again, patience is key to winning not only this race, but the championship. Understanding when to make the move and how is going to be one of the most important things as he dives it down to the inside.
And we are under caution here. We have one around on the back straightaway. It was a blue car. Jacob Hayes was running towards the tail of the field, now finds himself pit side in the 99. We'll take a look here on the Maconi Entertainment replay machine and see what happened, Alex.
There he goes. He's going, looks fine on the racetrack. A little bit loose and slidey, entering the corner, slides all the way up the racetrack and just tries to get back on the gas, and around she goes, and he's gonna hit the front end of the car into the wall pretty hard. He's gonna immediately tow back to pit road. Now, a little bit of an odd decision, but I'm a little confused because his car is pretty hard hit. It looks fine.
As we do have pit stops underway, I did get a little bit of intel on what happened just there with Jacob Hayes. Had an issue with his steering wheel, so the steering wheel ended up glitching on him, sending that car around. So that would explain the tow coming to fix some equipment for the Jacob Hayes machine as we are underway here with the pit stops. Alex McCollum wins the race off pit road. Riley Stenjum, Joe Schaefer Jr. as Jacob Harberts did stay out, as did Dante Curtis in the 03. Both drivers came down under the last yellow.
So a few of these guys taking pit stops now and some not. And so we're going to catch you back after all this racing action here at Five Flags in Pensacola, Florida. We'll see you after the break. Back under caution. We're back with the action here at Five Flags Speedway in Pensacola, Florida. Pensacola, USA. Lap 132 out of 150, so officially just over halfway done. And a lot of action so far tonight. We've seen a lot of green flag runs, got a lot of great racing, but we've also seen some tempers. We've also seen some incidents, and that's what brought out this recent caution. Was actually a wheel glitch. New fastest lap, Alex McCollum with a 16.5, 106 mile per hour average, beating out, I believe it was the 77 of Stenjum, who had the previous fastest lap. And so he is now looking to come back through the field, to come back. Oh, and already green is the 80 of Harberts. He is going to take the green flag. That outside lane kind of gets stacked up going into one.
Well, look behind him. Look who has arrived on scene. It's the two-time defending champion, Ryan Kuhn, finds himself in that second spot. And the thing here is Harbert and Curtis both have older tires than these guys around them. It will come into play as this run goes along right now. Getting the tires built up to temperature, not necessarily going to see it. But one thing I was mentioning just before we came back, I'm not a fan here of Jacob Harbert's strategy, as he's not going to be able to make it on fuel. Meanwhile, the rest of the field can, if by chance we went green to the end. So going to be very interesting to see what he can do. But looking a little bit further back, we do have Alex McCollum has cleared Dante Curtis. Here comes Trevor Edwards as well. So a couple of our past champions working their way forward into the top 5.
You know, you were saying how you didn't like this call. Some ways into the eye that some people may not seem like they have enough to say to the end. But I've been through enough fuel strategy races at intermediates with the next gen. I know it's a completely different car track combo, but there are some races where I don't think that some people can save, but it turns out they just can't. So maybe he knows something that we don't. And maybe, just maybe, he can make it to the end. It will be a very tough stretch, but maybe he sees something we don't. And riding on board with Rocky Boyd for 6th position, now going for 5th, as he's going to send it down the inside. Lowest was 24th, all the way up to 25th, so a big mover. And right now he sits just behind Alex McCollum.
Impressive drive by Rocky Boyd so far. Picked up a win in one of the LCQs last night. Now finds himself up in that 5th spot. Just behind him, though, nearly contact between Joe Schaefer Jr. and Dante Curtis, as Curtis now falling back. Actually, he's going to regain the spot, and he's going to pull Alex Gretz with him. Welcome to the top 10, Alex Gretz in the 17 machine. Haven't seen him this far up so far, but now we're starting to see a couple of those guys that were at the back working their way forward. I see Josh Parrish working his way forward. Joe Schaefer Jr., who's been up front, but just behind them, you see the Kyle Meyer and Jonathan Atkins machines, as well as Ben Nile. Nile up 18 spots on the day. One of the biggest movers, not quite the biggest mover, because that is currently held by Alex Gretz, who's up 20 positions on the day.
And, you know, that's one thing I really like about short track racing. It doesn't matter what point of the race is. You might have the same leader, you might have the same top 3, but the entire field gets shuffled around. Whether a pit stop happens, a pit stop cycle, a caution comes out, all of these guys will eventually shuffle around and have their time in the limelight, whether that's the top 5, top 10, top 20. This field never really stays that stagnant. With these guys racing as hard as they are, we're going to see the field mixed around completely. And those duct tape numbers, man, that's a real thing about short track racing. Even the front clip, too, absolutely brand new, not even the wrap on it. I mean, that is just the epitome of a short track car.
Yeah, you got that right. Very cool to see that 78 of Aaron Johnson. He had a rewrap from last night, ended up in a big incident, so that's why this just came together at the last second. Not even time to put his own numbers on the side. Looked like they pulled somebody else's backup car, formerly a 08 on the side of that machine, and I just love the look on that car. Duct tape numbers just screams short track, low budget racing to me.
And, you know, it's just one thing to see these guys go out. It's kind of cool to replicate real life with all these low budgets, and it just really shows that you don't have to have a lot to do good in this type of racing. You know, it does take experience and it does take a bit of money, but as long as you're pretty good and you have the upcoming skill, you can do great as well. Maybe even you sitting at home, but Jacob Harbert still leads in that number 80 machine, and you said you didn't really like his call about staying out. And right now he still sits kind of comfortable, but he's still got 100 laps left to navigate around this racetrack. And that's going to be tough for him to try and manage that and the fuel that he has left. So it's interesting to me how he plays this out, and now I see that he can go about doing this. And it's going to be tough to save fuel. You know, it's kind of easier to do and maybe a plate track or an intermediate than a short track. How do you think you save fuel?
Yeah, it's really tough to save fuel at a short track unless you just want to ride in the back. But from the numbers we were given on a fuel window, that fuel window about 150 laps here today, by my calculation, Jacob Harbert should be about 30 laps short on gas. I don't think you're going to save 30 laps of fuel, but I think he's banking on a couple late cautions, maybe some 40 to 50 to go, where everyone's going to come down, take that last set of tires, take a bit of fuel if they need it, and put himself right back on the same strategy, just with an advantage of coming down as the race leader. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out for Jacob Harberts. He's definitely going to have to come back down pit road, though, with less than 100 laps to go. Just taking a look here back at the back half of the top five here, Alex Gretz has cleared himself up into the 5th position. That number 17 machine really coming alive in this middle stage of today's race. Currently finds himself 5th, trying to chase down Rocky Boyd. These drivers both came through the LCQ together last night. Gretz had himself in a great spot in the qualifier, just overstepped a little bit on the last lap and ended up deep into the outside wall in that 17 machine. That got it rebuilt, got it back on track, and now finds himself in an absolutely phenomenal run thus far.
You know, looking at the time, it looks like Gretz gained a 10th on the leader, so maybe these guys kind of catching up to a leader of Harbert's. I don't know if he's slowing down, but I believe the whole field is kind of getting more scrunched up together here for the lead. And actually, it looks like that's happening. As we take a look here at the front, that's 72 of Kuhn, the back-to-back champion, really has started to catch up to the 80 of Harbert's, and we might have a battle for the lead on our hands in a few laps.
Yeah, we definitely may have a battle for the race lead as they come by the line this time by. Just taking a look at the lap times, a 16.903 for Ryan Kuhn, and for Jacob Harberts, a 16.858. So they kind of keep swapping out who's quicker which lap, and it's very marginal at this point, but I definitely think Ryan Kuhn has a great piece. He showed all week long that he's not necessarily going to put all of his cards on the table until it comes down to the end of the event. We still have 92 laps to go, so still a long way, still potential for a couple cautions to come out, a couple of game-changing incidents as well, based off of this kind of racing. This is short track, big money iRacing that's going on here tonight, and these drivers definitely going to pick up that intensity level as we see a couple battles throughout the field. We're looking at Brian Tedeschi here on the inside of the 23 of Caleb Hall. Hall up on the outside, Tedeschi down low, and just behind is where we find Mr. Duct Tape himself, Aaron Johnson, trying to work his way forward. That's the battle for the 13th position.
Mr. Duct Tape. I love that nickname so much. Really embodying that short track, low budget field that you were talking about earlier with that duct tape numbers. Not even the right door bumper or side skirt on the car, but he's still ringing it out, looking for a top 10 finish or maybe even a chance at the championship and prize pool here tonight. And that's one thing that I don't think we've mentioned here enough. These drivers not only racing for a championship, but a $1,400 purse for all of the drivers. Obviously, winning is going to get you the most money, but the more spots you gain earlier in the race, you know, the easier it is to keep them late and the easier it is to bag home that cash. And not only do we have those two awards, but we also have $50 goes up to the highest mover in the race. And after that, we got $50 for the best paint scheme, voted by one of the sponsors here tonight. The Colorado Capture's best appearing scheme for $50, and the SWM Hard Charger Award for another $50. So again, these guys not only racing for a championship, they're racing for a whole lump sum of money. This big money racing leads to clean, really exciting racing. And even in short tracks, you know, we've had a couple yellows, but that's going to happen on the short track regardless if we have the best drivers ever, because nothing ever goes perfect in the world of motorsports.
You know, we mentioned clean racing, but I think over the last 3 laps, Brian Tedeschi and Caleb Hall have slammed doors with each other about 6 or 7 times thus far. The battles and intensity levels definitely picking up, including the aggression as well, as we see Tedeschi on the inside, Hall on the outside. Just behind them is where we find the 31 of... Actually, that is not the 31. That is Aaron Johnson and I believe Spencer Dickinson. Jonathan Atkins, there we go. As my timing just messed up there, but these drivers all under a blanket, kind of getting held up behind the battle between Tedeschi and Hall.
Yeah, these guys together with one another, it's going to be a tight race for these guys to try and stay out front. Really, really close call.
Yeah, definitely close there as Hall and Tedeschi come together once again. Hall on the inside this time, Tedeschi up on the high side. They make contact once again. Tedeschi now into the outside wall as Caleb Hall slides up off of turn number 4. I wonder if Tedeschi might come back at him here with a little bit of anger after that contact. But these drivers racing really hard as we just saw Brian Tedeschi nearly into the back of the car ahead of him there. So we almost had an incident back in the midfield, but intensity level definitely through the roof.
Through the roof indeed. These guys are racing side by side, because even though we talked about how much race distance that there was, it's starting to wind down. We were talking about how it's going to be a long race on lap 64 when that first caution came out. It's 110 laps later. We're on lap 172. The sun's really starting to go down now. These drivers' tempers maybe starting to flare a little bit, and that patience really being tested, starting to wind down. Riding on board with the 71 of Dylan Caballero on 14th right now. So in that top 15 spot, there's another caution on the racetrack. I was just talking about the first caution we had, and now it's back down.
Sean Cole in the 24 backwards at the top of turn number 2. As this may play into the cards of Jacob Harberts here.
It's going to be interesting to see what he can do with that. Going to get a Maconi Entertainment replay riding on board. Wow, that dented front bumper.
It's a little broken.
Really caved in. I wonder if he just kind of breaks it. He sends it in, not expecting it, gets tagged, and he's going to go around. And I think that's where, hard hit.
That was a hard hit for Cole right there, Alex.
Yeah, hit right into the Pensacola USA branding on the wall, and he will stop and then get back going again. So interesting, a lot of these guys hard hit in the front end, and it looks like their cars are staying just in right shape. And it's interesting because you were talking about how he wanted, our leader, Harberts, wanted a late race yellow. His yellow came out, but maybe not as late as he wanted. This will give him an opportunity to save gas, but he still does not come down pit road. And I think the problem with the strategy is if we get another caution, say in maybe about 30 laps or so, that's going to give more guys behind him the opportunity to pit, and he's losing what he wants to happen so badly that the whole field goes down with him. He gets the opportunity and the advantage of coming down as the leader and retaining that position as everyone comes down for another stop of gas, tires, and they get to go. And right now, that's not looking too good for him right now because of how many guys are going down. Another caution out, lap 177. If we're going to come back to this racing action after a short break, we'll see you later on the other side.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Back about ready to go green. We're in Pensacola, Florida at Five Flags Speedway on lap 179 out of 250. Caution came out for a wreck involving the 24 hard into the outside wall. But right now, pit stops. As it stands, Harberts, our leader, has one pit stop. So does Edwards, McCullough, Meyer, Langford, and Calabrera. And some of these guys on two, so half the field pits. And off goes our leader. Harberts hits the gas, and right now, in prime position to take that spot away is Alex McCollum. He's worked his way back up to second.
Yeah, looking back, their battle for third. It's Dylan Calabro on the inside. 2017 winner Trevor Edwards on the outside as they make contact. That's going to send Calabro back into the clutches of Kyle Meyer. Meyer on the inside of Steele Langford now side by side there. The top three right now currently holds two of our previous champions. 2017 winner Trevor Edwards and 2020 winner Alex McCollum. McCollum currently running second. Edwards running in that third spot. And Jacob Harberts, our dominant car here tonight, is currently running at the lead with Ryan Kuhn, our two-time defending champion, currently finds himself back in that 8th position, trying to get by the 6 of Spencer Dickinson and the 33 of Steele Langford as they continue to be side by side for position number 6.
These guys are battling way hard, and it's great to see this hard battling. As you know, we've seen a lot of hard little battles out throughout all race, but it's now coming down to who has really the move to go to the front. 184 out of 250 laps completed. These guys not wasting a moment to try and get up to the lead. We've only got, it seems like a lot. We've still got so many laps left, so by no means just a handful, but the laps are winding down, and time is running out for some of these guys in the back of the field if they want a chance to go to the front. But right now, battling, this side-by-side battle has been great for all that we've gotten to see. Two-time champion, two-time defending champion Kuhn looking really good, as he now goes to the inside, and he looks to try and make the move going into 3.
Just ahead of them is Kuhn on the inside of Dickinson, but we just had a change for that third position. The 71 of Dylan Calabro worked his way up ahead of Trevor Edwards. You have to remember at the beginning of tonight's race, that 71 machine of Calabro found himself in numerous incidents just as an innocent bystander and has now worked his way back to the podium. So very strong run for that 71 machine as we hop on board with Dylan Calabro, currently running third behind Alex McCollum. And McCollum has gotten by Jacob Hart. Actually, no, he's not. Sorry. That is me looking at the wrong camera. As Calabro closing in on Alex McCollum, and they're trying to chase down Jacob Harberts, but Harberts just seems to have that extra couple horses under the hood of that number 80 machine here tonight, just pulling away once again.
See, that's what's interesting to me, is he looks to the outside. McCollum walks it down back low. And that's what's interesting to me. These three guys, and he goes for the block all the way down the racetrack. He's going to block him all the way down to the white line. And this 71, as we mentioned, has been pushed around from most of the beginning of the race. And I don't know if he's going to stand for it now. Continues to look to the inside. And do you think we see the bumper? That 71 got dumped a couple times using the front bumper. And you don't want to make tempers too clear, but now he does. He uses the bumper and he taps him, shoves him up the racetrack, and shows him his displeasure, saying, hey, I don't like what you did there down that backstretch. I wasn't really appreciative of what you did. We still got a ways away to go, coming into about almost 50 laps left. We've still got quite a bit of time to try and catch our leader. But right now, that 71 doing great battle with Alex McCollum in second position. Harbert's still our leader. Has been pretty dominant throughout this race, especially in that beginning section, and now coming back after it. But McCollum has really never shied away from that top 5 as he's doing battle with the 71 even harder. He's going to block him out of the wall.
Yeah, this is not going to end well for that one of Alex McCollum with the blocks being heavy. He says sorry over the race chat to that 71 of Dylan Calabro. Don't know how sorry he actually is there, as the aggression between those drivers definitely picking up. But here comes the boss man of Ryan Kuhn Motorsports. Ryan Kuhn working his way up to position number 3 on the inside of his driver, Dylan Calabro. That 72, the two-time defending champion, knows what needs to be done to win these races. Again, done it the last 2 years. He wants to pick up that big $300 paycheck, which comes with winning the Fall Brawl 250 here tonight. And Ryan Kuhn seems to be on his way to at least putting his foot through the door on that opportunity to take the win, as Calibro now on the outside of Rocky Boyd. Just behind Boyd is Alex Gretz. These drivers all under a blanket after getting held up by that battle between Calibro and Alex McCollum, as Calibro now falling in the wrong direction, getting one of those outside freight trains that we talked about earlier tonight.
Yeah, getting stuck in that outside lane, if you really have no opportunity to try and pinch and, get side by side at least with the guy below you to try and, see if he can pull you along with him. And that's going to send Calibro back through a couple of spots. But, one of the best to do it right now, Kuhn, who's up to third position now, two-time back-to-back champion. He has experience. Caution comes out the racetrack on 199. We were just saying, oh no, Mr. Duct Tape. Don't tell me he's involved.
It definitely involves the 86 of Justin Crow. I believe the 29 of Brian Tedeschi involved in that one as well. We'll take a look on the Maconi Entertainment replay machine here and see what happened, Alex.
We're going to take a look and see what happened. That 91 all over the rear end and sends it into the corner, not happy with the 93, and he just dumps him straight away. Oh, and hard contact for the 86. And this is exactly what I was saying earlier, with all these guys stacking so close to one another. 57 involved, the 29's involved, the 86 definitely involved. Just take a look at that right front.
Yeah, definitely a tough incident there for those drivers. Numerous guys involved in that one. I'm taking a look here at Jacob Harberts as we're under caution, seeing if he opts to come pit side this time, and he does not. He's going to stay on the racetrack, and we have just hit the 50 lap to go mark. 201 laps in the books here today. 50 laps to go after what has been a fantastic week of racing in the build-up to tonight's Fall Brawl 250. And on that incident, the 91 of Dylan Bates has been ruled at fault, so he's going to go to the tail of the field.
Yeah, so he's going to be deemed at fault, given the EOL penalty. Tail end of the longest line. He'll be back there, and that's not what you want to really see this late in the race. But, we were saying how Harbert's going to need that late race caution with about 50 laps to go. Where does he get it? On the 51st lap. And surprisingly, he doesn't come down pit road. So, again, unless he knows something about saving that we don't, he's going to be looking really close on fuel. Obviously having that track position advantage being out front right now. But, do you think he's in trouble?
I think we may have gotten some faulty intel on the fuel window here tonight, because I feel like Jacob Harberts is smarter when it comes to the strategy. Most of these guys have a whole team behind them setting up for tonight's race, and somebody would have told him to come down pit road if he needed to do it when it comes to the fuel and the tires. I'm kind of surprised that he's staying out this long. He pit on lap 65. We were told there was a fuel window of about 150 laps, and if you were pushing, the tires would only last about 125 to 150. So he's basically at the edge of that window on both.
So definitely going to be a tough race to the end. These two powerhouses up front, the two-time champion sitting in the prize catbird seat in the fourth spot, actually the third spot. God, I can't get it right. And Alex McCollum goes away, and so does Harberts. Harberts gets off to a bit of a slow start. The outside lane actually getting a great restart for once, and we've got a side-by-side battle going on strong, and it looks like McCollum is actually holding on.
That was the best restart of the outside lane I've seen all week long. Harbert's going to clear the one of Alex McCollum. Now Ryan Kuhn going to look to the inside of McCollum. McCollum going to slide down just a little bit there to narrow the entry that Kuhn has access to. Kuhn going to fall back into third position. Rocky Boyd finds himself fourth. Alex Gretz in fifth. Strong run by all five of these drivers here tonight. Have found their way forward at the right time. Just 44 laps to go. McCullum now sliding back towards the nose of the Ryan Kuhn machine. Kuhn going to look for an opportunity to either go high or go low. He's going to take a look to the inside, not able to get there that time, but he's going to want to close in on Jacob Harberts as quick as he can here to try to make that pass before the caution, because you cannot bank on getting a restart as good as Alex McCullum did.
Yeah, no, he in that second spot, still being a little in the worry if a caution comes out. And I know he wants to win, but, you know, these drivers, the more the lap times and as more as the laps wind down, just coming to about 41 laps to go, you know, the time is running out for most of these guys if they want to go home with the chip and the money. And right now, as it stands, Alex McCullum still having a bit of a gap to first place. Harberts has absolutely put on a clinic in these last 100 or so laps, absolutely wiping the rest of this field, maintaining that gap the whole time and looking really calm under a lot of pressure that we've seen him at the front of the field so far.
Yeah, definitely been a lot of pressure here tonight, trying to hold that lead. As we ride on board with Rocky Boyd, he has the great view of that second place battle between Alex McCullum and Ryan Kuhn. Kuhn trying to close to the inside of McCullum. He's going to take a run here down the back straightaway, sticks the nose underneath the one of McCullum. They're going to be side by side through turns 3 and 4. Looks like Kuhn going to have the advantage to the line and set himself up nicely here for turn number 1, and that opens the door for Rocky to work his way to the inside, but McCullum really strong on the outside, nearly contact to the left rear. McCullum there is Boyd going to dive back to the inside. They're going to be side by side for third. McCullum on the high side, Boyd on the inside. Here comes Gretz to the rear end of Rocky Boyd as Alex McCullum now sliding backwards down the racetrack. Currently finds himself in 4th, now falling back to 5th after what we thought might have been an opportunity to run towards that race lead.
McCullum being given absolutely no room to rejoin this line of race cars. And as it stands right now, he slides back to about 5th spot, losing 3 spots and 1 to our 2-time champion, who is currently sitting one of the best positions you can be, sitting in 2nd position. But he's got a mountain to climb if he wants to try and pass our leader, Jacob Harberts, who's just set the fastest lap, a 16.420, a 106 mile an hour average, but just a smidge faster than the last lap set by Alex McCullum, who started to fall back. But right now, Mr. Two-Time and Kuhn is going to have to try and ring out every trick in the book in the past 2 years when he went back-to-back in victory lane. And the 91 hard into the outside wall, trouble in turn 2. The 91 Dylan Bass absolutely hammered that right side into the wall, and that right front is cooked.
I would say the whole car is cooked the way he entered pit road right there. That thing was sideways, as we'll take a look at the Maconi Entertainment replay machine and see what happened to Dylan Bates.
In the replay now, you can see he just slides it into turn 1, tries to avoid the wreck, and comes up, and the 57 is still there, and hard into the outside wall. You know, I didn't really think he hit it that hard with the right front from that angle, but from the other angle, it looks like he absolutely destroyed the right front.
Well, look at the right front there, Alex, as he entered pit road. That thing's hanging off.
I mean, it's hanging on for dear life in a thread. So he wants to get that repaired as fast as possible, get back out on track. But another caution with 32 laps to go. And Harberts, who has been fast all of this run, you know, really looking to see if he could come home with, I believe, his first championship and a majority of that $1,400 prize purse. But it's not going to be an easy challenge whatsoever. Lots of fans here tonight in the grandstands and in the trailer and RV parks of Five Flags Speedway, Pensacola, Florida, putting on an absolute belter of a show here in Five Flags, Pensacola, USA. Harberts over Kuhn and Boyd going to be our top 3. When we go green again, and Harberts, you know, been leading so far throughout most of this second half of the race, really. been putting on an absolute show for us here. About 120 laps, he's been in the lead and hasn't looked like he's going to stray away from it. Every person that's been behind him trying to take it away, I mean, he just gaps, and it looks like he's just going on from there. But now he's got Mr. Two-Time behind him in Kuhn, and that's going to be hard to fight. And starting on the worst lane, starting on the outside, but it's going to be tough no matter what if you've got the guy with probably the most experience who has winning this thing in the field right next to you.
Yeah, definitely going to be tough with the two-time champion on your outside. We'll see what Kuhn can do. If he can get a restart like Alex McCollum did, I would expect to see a very tight battle for the lead. Before we go green, I do just have to give another shout-out to Ben Nile. The 14 machine got into the race as the 31st and final starting spot. Third provisional of the event. Started 31st, running 5th at this point. As pace car's off, we're getting set to go green. A green flag, and we're back underway, Alex. Kuhn sleeping a little bit on that restart.
Yeah, Kuhn didn't really get in the gas like I thought he would, but then just in the corner he clears, and now he looks to be having a straight charge for our race leader in Harbert's. 28 laps to go here from Pensacola, Florida in Five Flags Speedway. A lot of these guys getting side by side, and that's exactly what these group of four want to see up front. The people behind them battling it out, doing their dirty work for them, and getting that gap they need to try and cruise away with the championship. And right now, as it stands, Jacob Harbert's still in the lead, but he has got Mr. Two-Time breathing down his neck, and 3 other cars as well.
Yeah, Ryan Kuhn closing that gap on Jacob Harberts as the caution is out. Oh, that's a big one. We have probably 6, 7, maybe even 8 cars involved on the back straightaway here. Ryan Tedeschi and Alex McCollum. McCollum's engine has grenaded in that one after contact with Tedeschi. Wow. The implications here, Alex.
Oh my God, we were just talking about it. I believe that might be the end of the night for Alex McCollum. Looked so fast all throughout the weeks and this week leading up to it. It looks like he was the one who started the trouble with the 90. Oh my goodness. Wow. Absolutely almost flipped over the barrier. We almost saw him go into the RV park past the trees. And so, and maybe a little bit of tempers there as well. He's going to come back in up to the 93, and obviously the 93 not happy with that at all. One of the turkey cars we were looking at earlier gets back into the one of Alex McCollum. 24 laps to go, and we're back under yellow once again. And even if I'm Kuhn and I realize I'm starting second again, last restart is a great restart to look back on, saying, what do I need to improve to make sure that I don't have a restart like that again, and that I'm actually given a chance to come home with the chip and the money here from from Pensacola, Florida, Five Flags Speedway. And he's really looking to go for 3 in a row in absolute prime position to do so. Second spot may not be prime position on that restart, but he could give him the bumper, and he could show him what it's truly worth to give that 2-time experience to our leader in the number 80. And Jacob Harberts, who's absolutely dominated this last half of the race, is going to definitely have a challenge with Mr. Two-Time breathing down his side.
Yeah, definitely going to be a challenge here. We're going to restart with about 20 laps to go. Jacob Harberts, Ryan Kuhn, Rocky Boyd, Alex Gretz, and Ben Nile, the top 5. And you look at those drivers that that are currently running 3rd through 6th. None of them started in the top 20 here tonight. Boyd started 24th, Gretz 28th, Nile 31st, and Curtis 25th on the night. So all these drivers have had quite the journey to work their way up. We can hear right here on the onboard of Jacob Harberts, he is shutting that engine down, hitting the clutch pedal, trying to save fuel on board that number 80 machine. So potentially some drama in the 80 camp of Harberts here has dominated thus far here tonight. Now possibly on the edge of the fuel down to the final drops, Alex.
I mean, I thought he was running low and, having that caution not come out. It was really starting to hurt him, but we're green again here for Five Flag Speedway. Fans absolutely excited to see the end of this one. And already slotting in the line, wasting no time at all, is Ryan Kuhn. He's going to look to see if he can catch up. He's got about 20 laps to ring in our leader, and he is in the prime position to do so. As close as he has ever been to trying to get the lead away from Jacob Harberts. And right now, he's closing in fast.
Yeah, Ryan Kuhn definitely closing in quick onto the rear end of the Jacob Harberts machine. Harberts now finds himself under pressure from Ryan Kuhn. Kuhn getting a much better run through 1 and 2 this time than the Harberts machine. Harberts a little bit stronger here in 3 and 4, but Kuhn with a nice run here off of turn number 4. We'll see if he can close that gap as they run through 1 and 2 once again. We are down to just 17 laps to go, and we have Mr. Two-Time Ryan Kuhn running in that second spot, trying to chase down Harberts, but also trying to hold off a fast-running Alex Gretz and Rocky Boyd.
It's going to be a tight battle for the lead as the laps are winding down. Harberts looking strong until the end of this race. We did have a bit of fuel concerns, saving a bit under caution. One thing that might happen is we have 2 green and white checkers to use in case we go into Maconi overtime. We're going to see if that happens. Hopefully not, because it's been great racing throughout this whole entire race. Been no need to really think about using some of those, and slides all the way through turn 4. That's another one of those turkey cars. He's sliding around all the way and manages to save it. That's a great save.
Yeah, trotting their way through, trying to save that machine. Right now, though, Ryan Kuhn nearly to the rear bumper of Jacob Harberts. He's knocking on the door. He's getting ready to push his way through that 72. Kuhn has arrived, and he's ready to work his way to the head of the table as we get set here to feast on that $1,400 purse here tonight. Harberts, Kuhn, Gretz, Boyd, that's your top 4 as we're going to be coming around to just 11 laps to go this time. A whole week of work comes down to just 11 laps, 44 turns for these guys.
It's going to be tough. All of these guys have to know exactly what to do, and who would know it better than the man who's run it 2 separate times. 72 with Ryan Kuhn breathing down the back bumper of longtime leader Harberts. He was looking in prime position and absolutely dominating, and here he comes looking to the inside of that Toyota Camry, thinks better of it and backs out. You know, he knows exactly when to make the move, and he's been given a prime opportunity as he's going to send it down the inside going into turn number 1, and he's going to make the move stick. He's riding out side by side, and this is the closest battle we've seen for the lead all night.
Kuhn on the inside. He's going to pull Alex Gretz with him. Gretz on the inside of Harbert this time. Harbert's now falling back. Here comes Rocky Boyd the third. Harbert's going to go from 1st to 4th here from the podium to outside looking in at this point, and that right there just cost him quite a bit of money if it ends up being this way. Is just the drop from 1st to 4th, I believe, is about a $250 difference, which Jacob Harbert's definitely going to be disappointed in, but still a long way to go, even though we're just 6 laps to go this time. Ryan Kuhn, Alex Gretz, Rocky Boyd, the top 3.
These guys are, I think, some of the best short trackers in the business. Ryan Kuhn, the man who's won this race 2 times over and looking for a third, and the 23 during the 55. They're going to be side by side going into 3. Tempers are flaring. Will this affect our battle for the lead and our possible championship hopeful story? These 2 are rubbing each other like crazy. They've been side by side for now 2 laps in a row, and almost turns him, and he's going to go for the crossover, and he's going to almost put him in the wall. This battle heats up ever more.
Coming around this time, we're going to face 3 laps to go. The 2-time defending champion looking to make it a trifecta or a hat trick for Ryan Kuhn. 3 laps, just a few turns to go. It's Kuhn, Gretz, and Boyd as they've pulled away from Jacob Harberts now. Harberts going to just try to hold on into the top 5 as his car starting to go in the wrong direction here. Popsicle sticks displayed. 2 laps to go for Ryan Kuhn.
Ryan Kuhn, the man who has absolutely shown through this series, is going to take the white flag from Five Flags Speedway, and it's going to be his race to win. He's just got 2 more corners to navigate, plus the backstretch, and he's looking to make it a championship story. He's going to win this race 3 years in a row. He is your hat trick champion. Ryan Kuhn has done it here tonight, and he will be champion from Five Flags in the SARA Fall Brawl. He will come home, and he's going to win it 3 years in a row. Make it Mr. 3-time.
What a run here tonight by Ryan Kuhn. Works his way to the top step of the podium here tonight. He had to work for it. Started in the midfield, the furthest back of our previous champions here tonight. Jacob Harberts, an absolutely heartbreaking finish for him. Was at the top all night long. Finds himself coming home in 4th. And a big shout out here as well to Alex Gretz, the last car to qualify in the race without a provisional, and finds himself on that 2nd step of the podium right behind his Ryan Kuhn Motorsports teammate and owner, Ryan Kuhn.
Ryan Kuhn taking a victory lap for all the fans who showed up tonight, including for me.
Polish victory lap.
Polish victory lap. That's something the late great Alan Kowicki would love to do. Taking it and talking to the fans. He has absolutely shown up. All the drivers here extremely happy. Mr. 3-time, and he's going to come wing it around back to the front stretch. Ryan Kuhn absolutely ecstatic after winning in the RKM setup shop number 72. He is going to be the SARA Fall Brawl H&H Sign Supply champion, and he's going to park it on the front stretch and burn it down with a couple of his teammates. Absolutely deserving win here from Five Flags in Pensacola, Florida tonight. Ryan Kuhn, congratulations on being a 3-time champion.
What a run here by all of these drivers tonight. Definitely not as many cautions as you might have expected with such a high dollar, high impact short track race here tonight. Ryan Kuhn, Alex Gretz, Rocky Boyd, the podium here tonight. Congratulations to each and every one of them. And it looks like we have the podium drivers standing by for a conversation about the races here tonight, Alex.
Absolutely. And while we watch these guys sit and have a conversation, let's talk to our 3rd place finisher, Mr. Rocky Boyd, and Rocky Boyd the 3rd. Rocky Boyd, you come home 3rd tonight in the SARA Fall Brawl Championship race. Tell us how you did it.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, to be honest with you, the only way I was able to do this tonight was 100% Ryan Kuhn. He's done so much for me this past year, and I mean, we went out there and showed it tonight. We went 1, 2, 3, so can't thank him enough.
Absolutely a great showing from all of you guys here tonight, and it was immaculate for Mr. 2-time to crown it home with a great achievement in becoming a 3-time champion of this race. And now, seeing this, taking in what you've learned from him, do you think that you're going to stop his reign of 3 championships in a row and go for your first next year?
I mean, yeah, that would be the goal, obviously, but I mean, Ryan doesn't make mistakes, and he's just so good at what he does. So if I come this close to even having a chance at him, means the world to me. So if I did beat him, there would definitely be some high emotions.
Absolutely. An absolutely great race for you and your entire team, finishing 1, 2, 3. Anyone else you'd like to thank or talk about?
Yeah, obviously I'm going to thank Ryan Kuhn and all the guys at Arkham Setup Shop. We worked really good together throughout the race, me, Gratz, and Kuhn especially. And I want to thank Boyd's Automotive, Kyle Storm Racing, and Justin Brooks Designs, and everything they've done for me.
Wow, congratulations on coming home third. Nice chunk of change in your pocket coming home. So, although you didn't win the championship, got a nice chunk of spending money to go home with. And that is all up to your discretion to spend however and wherever. Thank you so much for competing tonight, and congratulations once again on third position.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That was the voice of Rocky Boyd from Florida. So a good race in his home backyard. We're going to get a interview with second place Alex Gretz. Hand it off to you, Robert.
Alex Gretz, you find yourself on the podium here tonight, coming home second behind your team owner, Ryan Kuhn. But I want to rewind just over 24 hours ago. Yourself and that VTEC powered 17 machine were on the outside looking in. You had to work your way in through the LCQ. Did you take any lessons learned last night and put it into play here tonight to work your way forward and find yourself on that second step of the podium?
Honestly, Robert, I learned from the heat race that I was driving way too hard and burning my stuff up way too fast. So tonight I came into a different approach. I slowed down my entry, slowed down my exits, just was way smoother. And it seemed to help a lot because I had so much tire left at the end there. I could have went for another 250 and been just fine.
Well, the tires definitely didn't seem to come into play as much as we thought here tonight, but we saw you run your way up through the field, starting 28th here tonight. What was the biggest challenge that you faced throughout the evening?
Honestly, just the few restarts we had, I seemed to always get stuck on the top side, and getting down to the inside here is not an easy task, to say the least. I was lucky that most of the restarts I had teammates around me. So I was able to, they were helping me out, giving me holes, either letting me roll the top on them and backing it up, or, giving me holes to get in behind them. So it helped a lot. If I didn't have that, I probably would have got shuffled back to like 30th place, like 8 or 9 times. But it helped a lot having teammates around. And but other than that, it was pretty smooth sailing, hooked up with some teammates and drove to the front.
You mentioned your teammates and the drive you guys had up through the field here tonight. Of course, your team owner, Ryan Kuhn, picking up his third consecutive championship here on the Fall Brawl 250. Do you think you had anything for him there at the end, or was second just about all you could get?
Honestly, every time I'm in a race with Ryan, I pretty much write it off as he's going to beat my ass, to be frank, because Ryan is one of the best there is when it comes to setups and when it comes to driving. I mean, I was a little bit quicker than him there when we passed Harberts, but it even right back out. I think even if it went green for the 30 laps, I wouldn't have had enough to catch him. Ryan is just on another level.
Well, once again, speaking of your team, why don't you take this chance to thank your team, give any shout outs, thank any sponsors that you got?
Of course, Ryan and Arkham Setup Shop. I mean, we're the best for a reason. We proved it here tonight. I mean, three of our cars locked out the podium, and then we had Ben in fifth, who is associated with us. Our other drivers had a rough night, but Arkham is here, and they're not here to mess around. Of course, him, Justin Brooks Design for the awesome-looking car, Studio 10 Wraps, 17 Media, Alex Gretz Racing, Navy Special Operators Foundation, and just everybody that, put in the effort this week and got our car to where it is tonight.
Well, congratulations on the solid run here tonight, Alex, and we look forward to seeing what you can do next year in the 10th annual Fall Brawl 250.
Thank you, Robert.
Well, Alex, that was Alex Gretz, the second place driver here tonight, and it looks like it is time for you to have a conversation with our race winner, 3-time champion, Ryan Kuhn.
Ryan Kuhn, you join us here in the Maconi Entertainment broadcast booth. As you sit here with us, you sit as a 3-time champion and a 3-time race winner. Tell us your emotions right now and going 3 for 3 years in a row.
Yeah, it feels good. I'm so proud of this group. We did quite a bit of testing. I'd say did about 4 to 6 hours of testing for this race, and hard work paid off, and boys stuck with me. They did a lot of testing as well, and I'm so proud of all these guys, and had a really good night, and it was great.
So practice makes perfect, and tonight you could call a perfect night. You guys came home 1 through 3rd. Absolutely impressive performance. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, like I said, I'm so proud of these guys. They did a lot of testing with me, and they always want to learn, and I always appreciate that. And to have, what do we have? 5 in the top 10. That is a such a solid night. I'm so proud of this group, the whole RKM group, sticking by me, even though I haven't been around as much. But yeah, I mean, that's I'm kind of speechless. You know, the emotions ain't really catching me right now, but I'm sure I'll feel it later.
You are a 3-time champion of this race. Now, you've taken home the majority of the pot. You've taken home about as much as you could possibly take. I mean, you are sitting perfect right now in victory lane, or just outside of victory lane on the front stretch with all of your guys. Been an absolutely incredible race from you. Having those 2 years experience looked like it really helped you there in the end.
Yeah, I mean, I knew at the end there, Harbert's, he was, I couldn't believe how long he was on tires for, to be honest with you. I mean, a lot more laps than I thought I could ever made it. But I saw him, I knew if we could get some green flag laps, he'd start getting tight. And I knew it too. I just need this thing to stay green. But honestly, I think if we had a spree of cautions, he probably would have just walked away with that one. But, you know, he had one hell of a run, hell of a race with him. He's always been really clean to me, really nice to me. And, but, you know, we struggled in qualifying. Well, I wouldn't say we struggled. We had really good qualifying pace. We just basically all of us screwed up except Dylan. And then the heat race, we just got to finish top 4. And then I know some of the guys got a little bent out of shape out of the heat race, but glad they made it through the LCQ. And also shout out to Ben for a top 5. I believe that's the hard charger. So that's really great to see for Ben. But yeah, I mean, it was fun.
Absolutely incredible. Well, you come home as a 3-time champion and a 3-time race winner with the most in the pot. What else do you have to say? You've been thanking everybody a lot, but as we usually wrap up an interview, who else do you have to thank apart that made all of this possible?
First off, I'd like to thank my my real life sponsors, Everett's Auto Parts, for giving me the opportunity back in 2024, coming back better and stronger, hopefully. Peter Bernier, Modern Auto Body, all my guys at our camp setup shop, Coastal Heritage Bank, 01 Designs, Justin Brooks for this beautiful paint scheme. You guys in the booth, Matt and the guys putting this whole deal on. I think this was, out of the 3 wins, I think this is going to be my favorite because it was such a clean race, or majority of it was such a clean race and didn't have a whole lot of cautions like the last few years. But that's awesome. Awesome improvement. And yeah, on to the next one, I guess.
Looking to go for 4 in a row next year. Has been a great night for you, coming home to win your 3rd championship here, your 3rd race, and winning it all. Absolutely incredible night for you, Ryan Kuhn. Looking to run it back again, be Mr. 4-time next year. Thank you so much for your time, and congratulations once again. That was the voice of Ryan Kuhn. Mr. 72 on track came home with the victory. Absolutely in crazy race. Robert, what do you think? A lot of side-by-side racing, even though the top really doesn't work all that well. We saw a lot of great side-by-side action. We saw bumpers. We saw wrecking. We saw incredible passes. What do you think are your final thoughts?
This has been an absolutely incredible week of action here with the SARA Sim Racing League. From the time we unloaded Monday with the weekly shootout to pole night, qualifying night last night, and tonight with the Fall Brawl 250, the action and the respect we've seen from these drivers has been absolutely phenomenal. Ryan Kuhn has been one of the best drivers all week long, and tonight he proved why he's a 3-time defending champion. But we got to watch out next season for Alex Gretz and Rocky Boyd. And if Jacob Harberts can fine-tune that strategy, I think he's going to be a real threat, Alex.
I think so too. Well, it's been a phenomenal night. The H&H Sign and Supply Incorporated 9th annual Fall Brawl 250 saw amazing racing action with side-by-side racing, great passes, a couple of crazy wrecks too. Didn't quite see a flip almost got it out of Alex McCollum, which is something we got to look out for next year when he comes back absolutely lightning fast in this car. But before we end it off and ended tonight's stream, we got to give thanks to a few of the people who make it possible here where we are to make you guys able to see this race. Not only did we thank the H&H Sign and Supply League for giving us the Fall Brawl 250 for the 9th time in a row annually. Been an absolutely incredible time we've had here tonight. Incredible racing all throughout the field, and it's been a wonderful night for everybody involved. But as we get on and we get ready to sign off, a couple of people we have to thank are not only them, but the people who make this all possible, Maconi Entertainment. These guys are bringing this racing to you, and it absolutely was immaculate here from the racing here tonight. And as we get ready to sign off, we'd like to thank tonight's admin team as well as the sponsors to make this event possible: H&H Sign, SimWrap Market, Race1Wraps.com, and Color Captures are all responsible in helping to bring the 9th annual SARA Fall Brawl to life. Congratulations to tonight's race winner, Ryan Kuhn, on becoming a Fall Brawl champion for the 3rd time in a row. Calling the action tonight with myself, Alexander Valderas, alongside Robert Hill in the booth, and DJ Lion on the controls. Thanks to all of our viewers for tuning in on tonight's racing action and for tuning in each night this week to get us here. Stay tuned to the Maconi Entertainment social media pages for all of our upcoming broadcasts so you don't miss a thing. This has been the production of Maconi Entertainment, and we'll see you at the next Checkered Flag.